Are you bringing in Nkunku for game week 17? Here are the best transfer tips to help you climb your ranks and win the mini leagues. Let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game. Where Fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top. Guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
G'day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Root and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the top transfer tips for game week 17. We'll be looking at some of the players that you should be looking to bring in and maybe some of the players that you're going to be taking out. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe and smash a like on this video too. So we start off with Christopher Nkunku, a player that Chelsea bought in the summer and hasn't played a single minute for them so far this season. And that is because he has been injured. So he got injured in pre-season. He was a player that a lot of people did have in their original game week 1 teams, but obviously we had to take him out because of his injury. He started the season off at 7.5 million, but he's dropped down to 7.3 million. So a real bargain if he is Chelsea's number one forward striker. The only thing for me is I'm not sure he would play up front. I think he might play number 10 or maybe even up front sometimes, but he is classed as a forward. It would have been a little bit nicer to class him as a midfielder, but I guess we don't know where he will play full-time consistently until he gets a run of games. So this is a really punty transfer as he's 0.6% owned, but with Chelsea's fixtures and the fact that he should be back starting games and playing consistent games very soon, I think taking a punt this early could be a nice option. So Sheffield United at home, Wolves away, Crystal Palace at home, and then Luton away. There's some really good fixtures there, and if he does start them, I can definitely see him getting points. We've seen how good he was in the Bundesliga last season, even the season before. So he is a top player. It's just, can he get fit quick enough to capitalize on these games? Even after these games, though, so after Luton in game week 20, they have Fulham at home, Liverpool away game week 22, but then Wolves and Palace in game week 22 and 23, especially with Salah and Son going to Asia Cup and African Cup of Nations around that time. There's going to be a lot of money to spend, and we might be switching to a 3-4-3 if we can't see there being enough midfielders out there to put your money in, because Mbeumo is going to be going to Africa Cup of Nations. Obviously, like I said, Salah, Son as well. Hwang is another player that will be going. So there's a lot of players, and Nkunku could be a player that we spend our money on. We look to transfer the funds into the forward positions. One thing not to forget is Nkunku was actually starting for France and going to play for France at the World Cup last year, but he did end up getting injured. So it is a player that is really highly rated and a really good player that I'm sure will rack up a lot of goals and assists when he does start to get a run of games. It's just, do I think that it could be a bit too early, maybe slightly too early? Maybe you're probably looking at game week 18, 19 to bring him in your team and be confident enough that he's going to start. But as an early punt, I think it's worth going for if you are looking for a striker around that price point. The next, we'll talk about a striker that you might be taking out in order to get in Nkunku. Alvarez, Julian Alvarez, the Man City forward. So he has been playing a lot of minutes in that number 10 position since De Bruyne has been injured for, I guess, all of the season near enough. I think he played game week 1 and came off injured. But he's 7 million, 28.8% owned. And a lot of people are starting to get fed up with him. So I am a Alvarez owner, and I am probably starting to get fed up with him. But with me, I'm on my wild card. So I don't see there being a massive point to get him out now. I'll probably get rid of him in game week 18, where he does blank. So that's another reason why people are taking him out their team. So this season, he's, like I said, 28.8% owned, and he's got 4 goals and 7 assists. But they came largely in the first, I want to say, like 7 games. Recently, he hasn't done great. He's only got 2 assists since game week 9. So that's not good enough, really. No matter what price he is for Man City's, I guess, number 10 he's playing, it's not good enough. So I can see why a lot of people are taking him out. However, I would be a little bit cautious, as in game week 17, he does have Palace at home. A really good fixture. Palace are a team out of form, I'd say. They've got an injury to Mitchell as well. Their left back, Eze, is obviously out. Yeah, they're in real bad run of form. So I would be wary about taking him out for that. But he does blank in game week 18. And then the fixtures after that do look really good for Man City after the game week 18. And potentially we could see them have a double game week in game week 2021, which hasn't been announced at the time of recording this video, but hopefully it does get announced soon if it is going to happen. So after the blank in game week 19, they've got Everton away, Sheffield United at home, Newcastle away, Burnley at home, Everton away, Brentford away, and Everton at home. So some really good games in there. Probably up to game week 27. Their fixtures are actually really good. The only I guess tough, if you want to class them as tough, I'm not too sure if you do, but tough opponents are Newcastle away, which is going to be a tough game, Chelsea at home, and then other than that, they don't have any, I'd say, tough games really. They've got Burnley, Everton at home, Sheffield United at home, Bournemouth away. So winnable games for Man City and winnable comfortably. So if Alvarez does keep his place in this team, I think he is a good player to own. But for now, I can totally see why people are taking him out. I would probably take him out if I wasn't on my wild card. I'd probably go to someone like Watkins. Maybe not this game week, maybe in game week 18. But I would go to someone like Watkins, maybe even someone like Isak, just depending on if you think he's going to start enough games. Also, you've got Nkunku, who does become an option, and a person who we're going to talk about next. So I think a player that could be a good buy if you are selling Alvarez is someone like Dom Solanke, the Bournemouth forward, coming in at 6.5 million, 6.4% owned. Luton at home, and he's got Forest away, then Fulham at home. So 3 really good game weeks coming up. After that, the fixtures are not, I'd say, not the best for Bournemouth, to be honest. They're not bad, but they're not fixtures you're going to want to target. So they got Tottenham away, Liverpool at home, so tough games. Then they've got West Ham away. But then after that, they've got Forest at home and Fulham away. And then their fixtures go a little bit tough again. They kind of go in 2 chunks of 2. So they got Tottenham, Liverpool. I'd say pretty bad fixtures. Then they got West Ham away, but then they got 2 good ones: Forest at home, Fulham away. Then they got 2 bad ones: Newcastle away, City at home. Then they got 2 good ones: Burnley away, Sheffield United at home. So they kind of go in spurts of 2. But I think Solanke can score against anyone. We've seen it this season, him scoring against strong teams, against Villa, against Newcastle, against Wolves, who are a decent team, but Brighton away, who are a decent team, Brentford away, who are a decent team, assist against Liverpool, against West Ham. So we've seen he can score against anyone. And I think with these fixtures coming up, especially the next 3 fixtures, I think he could be a good buy if you are taking out Alvarez. This could even just be a game week 17 transfer only, so Alvarez to Solanke, and then maybe you can get back Alvarez if there is a double game week in game week 20 for Manchester City. It could be like a little move that you do a little hokey on, and you do bring back Alvarez. But even if not, I think Solanke is a player that can potentially stay in your team for most of the season, unless there's a real big run of bad games, or you do have the luxury to take him out for someone else when the games do get tough. But apart from that, I think Solanke, and I think Bournemouth as a whole, do look actually pretty good this season. Yes, they started off terribly, I'd say. No win since game week 10, but since then they've won 4 games, drawn 1, lost 1, and the only loss was against Man City away. So really good there. And for me, I think Solanke could be a good option if you do want to downgrade Alvarez. So there's been a lot of talk about this goalkeeper. So Dubravka, it is because Nick Pope has dislocated his shoulder. So a massive injury for anyone, I guess, but for a goalkeeper, even more so. There's going to be a lot of recovery time needed just in case, as I'm sure he uses his shoulder and diving around and making big saves a lot. So Dubravka did start at 3.9 million, but it's now gone up to 4.1 million, 5.5% owned. But I think now is a good time to bring him in if you are looking for a new goalkeeper, because the next 3 fixtures, and potentially longer, but definitely the next 3 fixtures do look really good for Newcastle. And we've seen how good their their defense can be. But yeah, definitely in the next 3 fixtures, and them 2 home games do look really, really good, and probably almost, yeah, one of the best chances of a clean sheet. So Fulham at home, even if Fulham have been doing much better recently, I still think Newcastle at home are strong against anyone. Luton away, again, Luton have been pretty solid at home. They haven't conceded loads of goals, but defensively, I think Newcastle can keep them out. And then Forest at home. So some really, really good fixtures over the next 2. After that, though, they do run into 3 tricky fixtures. So it might be worth having a substitute goalkeeper that you can bring in for these fixtures, where they do have Liverpool away, City at home, Villa away. That is a pretty tough run-in for Newcastle. But after that, again, their fixtures become really, really good. So Luton at home, Forest away, Bournemouth at home. So some 3 really good fixtures again. I think Dubravka is probably the best goalkeeper value-wise and potentially in general-wise out there at the moment. Yes, you could argue maybe someone like Ederson with the fixtures coming up. But, with Ederson, you're not getting any save points. With Dubravka, you got half a chance. And for 4.1 million, I think it is a no-brainer to bring him in if you do need a goalkeeper. If you're someone that doesn't need to make a goalkeeper transfer, then I'd probably hold off. I wouldn't be taking a -4 to bring in Dubravka or for any goalkeeper, to be honest, unless your other goalkeeper is not playing. That's the only way I'd do a goalkeeper transfer, or you have the luxury of no other moves. But I think at this moment of the season, I think that luxury is not in effect, really. I think a lot of us have to deal with injuries, suspensions, etc. So if you do have the transfer, if you do need to bring in a goalkeeper, I think Dubravka is your best option out there, especially with how solid Newcastle are at home and how good their fixtures look over the next 3. The next is a player that a lot of people haven't really spoken about. It is Dejan Kulusevski, a player that was really, really good for FPL. I'd say in his first season, when he came in January, and he absolutely smashed it. Last season, not the best. This season, a bit of a mixed bag. He's still delivered-ish, 4 goals, 1 assist, but not enough to be an FPL option, to be honest. But with the fixtures coming up, I can see him being a massive differential if you are looking for a midfielder around that 7 million price point. If you held on to Mbeumo, or if you've had enough of someone around that price point, maybe Bowen doesn't tickle your fancy anymore, or someone around that price point. And I think Kulusevski could be a nice differential at 7 million, only 2.6% owned, and the fixtures coming up for Spurs look really, really good. So Forest away, Forest have been terrible recently. Everton at home, Brighton away, Bournemouth at home. So them 4 fixtures are really, really nice for Spurs, and especially attacking wise. Defensive wise is another story, but attacking wise, you'd fancy them to score in every single one of them games. I have got a little bit of an inkling that Kulusevski might drop into the number 10 now Richarlison is back fit, because he can go to the right, or Brennan Johnson can go to the right and Richarlison can go to the left. I do think Kulusevski might drop into that number 10 and then play that Maddison role. So I think that does make him a better option than being out wide. I think he suits that position a little bit more because of his lack of pace. But if he's not a player that a lot of people will be talking about, but I think if you did want to punt and you kind of had enough of the template midfield, I think Kulusevski could be a good option to go for around that price point. He's going to be taking stuff like corners, maybe even some free kicks. Kulusevski, I think, can be a good option, and I think he will deliver over these next 4 games. And now, as a player that I think a lot of us did start the season with, it is Leon Bailey, the Aston Villa winger. So this one is a bit of a differential, as well as it's a bit of a risk, because not only because of his ownership, 1.4%, but the fact that he's not guaranteed to start, to be honest. He went through a patch where he was starting games, but then he's never really had a consistent patch throughout the season. It's only, I'd say, the last 2 to 3 games where he has started or got a decent amount of minutes. So it is a bit of a risk, but I think with Aston Villa's form and Aston Villa's fixtures coming up, I think he can be a player that does add a little bit of a differential to your midfield. Do I think he's better than Palmer and Gordon? No. But are you fed up of having the same midfield as other people? then if that answer is yes, then I think Leon Bailey can be a differential for you. The fixtures are a mixed bag for Villa. I wouldn't say they're good or bad. So Brentford away can be tough, but we've seen how many injuries they have recently. Sheffield United at home in 18, get a blank game week 18 is massive. Man United away and then Burnley at home. After that, they got Everton away, Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away. So mixed bag, but I'd say more good than bad. I think if you can get Watkins, go to Watkins. Other than that, I think Bailey is probably the next best Aston Villa option. A lot of us thought Diaby was going to be that person, but we've seen him come off early or be dropped, be rested, whatever you want to call it, in the last few game weeks. So for me, I don't trust him. John McGinn could be an option. You know he's going to start. But for me, I think I'd rather go for Leon Bailey, a little bit more exciting. But I wouldn't be rushing to bring him in if you do prefer Palmer and Gordon. It's only if you've had enough of template midfield and you want to go for someone different. So a lot of us are looking to bring in a Chelsea midfielder if we haven't done so already. And I think Thiago Silva could be the best one out there, not because of his attacking return or because he's extra solid or bonus points magnet, but it's just because of his price and his nailedness. I think he is nailed in this Chelsea team. He started every single game this season, and at the age of 40 odd, however odd he is, I think them fixtures are just too good to pass by. Only 5 million and 3.6% owned, but these 4 fixtures do look really, really good. Sheffield United at home, Wolves away, Palace at home, Luton away. And then even after that, they have some good fit. They got Fulham at home. So the fixtures do continue. The only thing is, I'd say, is obviously I think Reece James is a better option for a few 0.4 million more, whatever it is, 0.3 million more. I do think Reece James is a better option, but I don't trust his injury record. I don't trust his minutes. I think when Gusto's back, Gusto can be as good or good enough replacement for Reece James. So that's the only thing that does worry me. That's why I have decided to mention Thiago Silva, as I think he's the most solid in that team. Even if he does maybe get rested, I think he's going to start 9 out of 10 games. And I think that's good enough over this period. Chelsea haven't shown much defensively. They did at the start of the season. They were pretty solid. But recently, they've been conceding a lot of goals and they haven't really looked that good, to be honest. But I think with these next few fixtures, I think now's a chance for them to kind of turn their season around and get on a bit of a run after picking up some good results against, obviously, Spurs, Arsenal and Manchester City. Do I think Reece James is a better option? Yes. Do I trust him? No. So if you do trust Reece James or you want to go for the punt, go for Reece James. If not, I think Pedro Porro could be a good option. As we've spoke about with Kulusevski, Spurs' fixtures do look really, really good. But I think I slightly prefer Chelsea's fixtures and probably slightly prefer the chance of Chelsea keeping clean sheets too. That was it for this video. Please make sure you smash a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And leave a comment below, what transfers are you going to be making for Game Week 17?